What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Daily Dose podcast, your daily hit of fighting news and the world's hottest topics. I'm Jack, and every week I'm going to break down the latest in combat sports, from the jaw-dropping moments to upcoming fights, and deep dive into the biggest headlines around the globe. Whether it's the fight of the century or the battle for your attention, I got you covered. So grab your gloves, buckle up, and let's jump into today's dose of the world's most exciting conversations. Welcome. Don't forget that this podcast is sponsored by Jackpack LLC, all organically grown cannabis right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. On today's episode, we're going to cover the UFC London fights from this past weekend, talk a little bit about the fights coming up this weekend, as well as some current topics going on in the world, and then, of course, end it on the message of the week. So let's get right into it. UFC London. We're going to break down a few of the fights in detail. Give a quick shout outs here. Lawner Kavanaugh had a great fight at flyweight. Really good back and forth, but he definitely deserved the decision. Great performance. Christian Leroy Duncan, another great performance. Pulled out the victory. Shauna Bannon, this one was interesting. She was actually losing the fight in every way. She was getting beat. She was losing on the feet, losing on the ground. Just wasn't looking like it was her night at all. But that's the cool thing about MMA. She was hanging in there. She held on, and she eventually caught an armbar submission from the bottom. So very dope to see. A lot of times in boxing, if someone's getting beat like that, they're just going to lose the fight. Very rare do you have some moments like that. So that's the cool thing about MMA is there's so many ways to win or lose that the fight can change just like that. So also Nathaniel Woods had a great performance, and he's looked really good at featherweight. So overall, I mean, the card was pretty damn good, as it usually is out there. You had Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson, round one. You know, Holland's coming out. He's getting the better of the exchanges on the feet, and then Gunnar Nelson actually takes him down, but doesn't really do much. Even throughout the fight, when he was getting the takedowns, he was just kind of trying to advance position, whereas Holland, especially in the first round, was throwing up a lot of submissions. He would throw elbows. He would move. He was doing anything he could. So he definitely, even on the bottom, was doing better, I thought, So as you got into this, and I think it was right before the first round ended, Kevin Holland, with like 10 seconds left, dropped him, and he was super dazed. When he got back to the corner, he wasn't sure what happened or that the round ended. So, and then as soon as the second round started, Kevin Holland just comes right to it, brings the pressure. They were clinching. And then, of course, Gunnar Nelson finally gets the takedown again. And same thing, like I said, every time that they were doing in these takedowns, it was Gunnar on top, maybe getting full mount for a sec. But ultimately, Kevin Holland would move, switch positions, throw up a submission, throw up some offense. And I think a lot of people forget that Kevin Holland is a Travis Lutter black belt. So he does have really good ground game. At 85, he's admitted it as well that he's just not strong enough. Sometimes not against everybody, but a lot of those bigger guys, he just can't do as well. So he said as long as people weren't 30, 40 pounds bigger than him, he doesn't have a hard time. So overall, it's pretty good, though. First, second, third round, they were all pretty similar. Gunnar kind of got him in a little possible triangle choke in the I think it was in the third round. It was in third round. And, I mean, it looked decent from, depending on your angle, but Kevin Holland was never worried, threw the thumbs up. Overall, he kind of cruised through, did his thing. He always looks really good at 170, even 85 on the matchup. Like he said, as long as they don't come hug him and they want to exchange, he's always putting on a good fight. So, overall, pretty easy 3-0 for Kevin Holland. And then you go to the co-main. You got Carlos Oberg and Jan Blachowicz. I'm pretty sure I picked Jan in this one. I thought he would be able to do a little more. He had been off for about 2 years. And really, though, overall, first and second round were pretty similar. Even the third round as well. The only time where it wasn't is like, I think right at the end of the third is when Jan got dazed by Carlos Oberg. So overall, though, it was really just a kickboxing match. Both of them were landing pretty good leg kicks. Jan Blachowicz, his problem in this fight in particular, just throwing up a lot of single shots. So even if they were landing good, he'd throw one shot. Carlos would come back with 2 or 3. So in the judge's eyes, it's going to look a certain way. They were going leg kick for leg kick. Jan's always been a dude like he'll kick the shit out of someone's legs, go shin to shin, and he doesn't even care. It's that Polish power. So he did pretty good, but looked like he was a step behind. Unfortunately, he looked every bit of 42. Sometimes, and in a lot of these divisions, we're kind of seeing the passing of the guard, like with Sean Brady, Leon Edwards, and that's just how this sport is. So it was a good win for Carlos Ulberg. I think he's looking to get a bigger fight, maybe a title fight. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so those were those two fights. And then, of course, the main event, you had Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. Right away when the fight started, first round, Sean Brady was kind of starting to control. It was going pretty well. Leon Edwards, he was landing some shots. I mean, he is the better striker, so he was landing some shots, but it seemed like Sean Brady was still having a bigger moment. The pressure was kind of getting to him. And when the second round started, he came out right away, just rushing in, bringing the pressure. And it seemed like he finally got it. Like he was struggling a little bit in the first round with the takedown. He did get it. He was getting his position. The second round, it looked even easier. Kind of the same thing on the feet. Leon, kind of same thing with Jan. He wasn't really throwing combos. He was throwing more single shots, but he is a better striker, a little faster, so he was able to land. But he just wasn't putting up enough, and he was on his back foot for most of the fight, going back, going to the side, going to back. It kind of starts to wear you out, and especially when you're all defensive on the takedowns. He was doing well, but then when he would finally get taken down, most of the rounds ended with him on the bottom or Brady on his back. He really didn't have much to offer him, and it just kept breaking on him until finally round 4, Brady got him, submitted him, pretty easy. It happens. Once you get broken like that, once you constantly get taken down, you're just trying to defend, it makes it that much easier for the person in the offensive position. Really puts the welterweight division kind of in a weird place. I guess it was the end of 2022, so it's been a little over 2 years. But Bilal Muhammad just TKO'd Sean Brady not that long ago. So if you say now Sean Brady's the number one contender, well, he already lost to the champ pretty recently. So it'll be interesting to kind of see, what happens in that division next. But it's definitely a good one. We'll see who they decide and go from there. So then this next week's card, we got a pretty good card. Like I said, it was, not insanely good, but they always put on a decent amount. Let me pull up this so I can give my predictions here. I know the main event is Brandon Moreno, so he always puts on an exciting fight. And Steve Erceg, that should be a banger, Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pfeiffer, you got Drew Dober on there, Raul Rojas Jr. You got a pretty good amount of fights. Rafa Garcia, Lupi Godinez. Okay. So let me give my predictions here on the Rojas Jr. We'll take him over Vince Morales. We'll go with a submission. Kelvin Gastelum, he's been on a tough one as of late, so I'm going Joe Pfeiffer, probably by unanimous decision. Gastelum's tough as hell. Manuel Torres, Drew Dober. You know what? I've been picking a lot of the guys I know. And this one, I'm going to take Manuel Torres by third round TKO. Brandon Moreno and Steve Erceg. This will be a banger for sure, but I don't think Steve Erceg can really do anything to Moreno. Probably same thing, a late finish for Moreno. Should be a pretty good banger. These fight nights are decent, but they could definitely be a little better. I believe after that, or 2 more weeks after that, we'll get the big pay-per-view card. So better things to come. But overall, UFC London was a good card. We'll see what this weekend brings. That's kind of a wrap-up on the fights. So let's go over to some current topics. I saw this video, and this YouTuber went up to Gervonta Davis. He was like a homie and maybe a security guard, and he asked him to run the fade. And Tank was looking very confused, and he's like, come on, man, I'll give you some money. Let's run the fade. Haha, trying to be funny. And you could tell it got very awkward, very weird. And the guy tries to be like, oh, no, you're not comfortable. I got it. It's cool. And some people might be confused. He walks away like it was just a very weird situation. You have to watch the video. Some people might go, oh, Tank's scared. Oh, this and that. I can promise you the first thought in his head was, I should knock Buddy the fuck out. Like, what would make you think you could go up to one of the baddest boxers on the planet and run a fade with him? People are just, I mean, there's a line to be drawn. I get you're trying to get views and stuff like that. You know damn well he's not going to box you. And if he did, you know, he would whoop your ass. So it's just funny, people's perception, like they could do stuff like that. So go check out the video. It's definitely very weird. Anthony Mackie. So he's got this Captain America role. He's going around to all these podcasts, doing some interviews. He was on the Pivot podcast, and something he said was, we need to stop lying to our kids, telling them that hard work pays off. He was saying that he's seen people that don't work hard, don't do this, don't do that. They've just gotten lucky to be in the position they're in. And especially with everything going on lately in Hollywood, we know how some of these people get to the position they're in, you know. So then he's trying to tell Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, and I think it's Channing Crowder that, you know, like with them, he's like, with you guys, right? There was someone faster, there was someone stronger. Like, no, there wasn't, buddy. Fred Taylor was where he was because he was absolutely one of the best. Ryan Clark, one of the best without a doubt. So you're trying, you know, it's like in fighting. People don't get lucky in fighting and this and that. Yeah, you can get from when you work your ass off, you may get in the right positions that could seem like luck, but you don't win fights off luck. You don't be the best safety in the NFL off luck. You don't be one of the best running backs of all time off luck. So maybe in Hollywood, we know obviously how he's been on all these small roles. Now he has this big old Captain America role. So he's basically telling us how he got that role, which is cool. Do your thing, and that might work in Hollywood. In sports, that's not how it goes. Sports is a lot different. You got to work your ass off as an entrepreneur and many other fields in life. You know, Hollywood is one of them where y'all are weirdos doing whatever you do, and that's cool. But don't tell my kids none of that shit. We gonna work hard around here. So I just thought that was very weird. He should have realized where he was at, you know. So we got a lot of federal indictments going on right now. Obviously, Lil Durk is in prison, and it's looked like he's never getting out. Big U and all these members of the Rolling 60s. It's just crazy to me that people are in a position that they're in, and then you're going to fuck up and put yourself in prison, you know. Imagine being worth millions, living the best life, doing whatever you want. Even like with Diddy, I mean, he obviously deserves it. You know, if these guys are found guilty, they deserve it, whatever. But, man, I touch some money like that, you ain't never hearing from me again. So it's crazy. And with a lot of these cases, people got to realize the feds do not pick up a case unless they know they're going to win. Their conviction rate is like 97%, something crazy. So a lot of these boys are in trouble. So the Big Meech 50 Cent beef. This one's interesting. I mean, me personally, I'm a big fan of the BMF show. I enjoy it and everything like that. And obviously just the story of Big Meech and everything. And, you know, so then when he comes out, I think he was looking for kind of a bigger impact from his son, that from what his son should have done. And a lot of reports are coming out saying that Little Meech is broke and he didn't capitalize. So then Big Meech starts critiquing 50 this, 50 that. It's weird. And then 50's obviously sending shots back saying that has this lawyer that was a lawyer for BMF, and she can prove that Big Meech gave up somebody in his crew to get some time shaved off. You know, the next season was supposed to be canceled, all this stuff. And you still see him kind of going back and forth. But then also, if you go on the Stars app, you'll see that the newest season of BMF is up there. So it's very interesting. I'm like, I can't tell. Are they actually beefing? You know, Big Meech and Little Meech post pictures with Rick Ross, stuff like that. But then also 50 has sent shots at them. But the next season is still coming out. So it'll be interesting to see. Are they trolling? Are they not trolling? What's kind of the story on that? So I'm definitely just kind of curious. Obviously, I love the BMF show, so I don't want to see it go away. Message of the week. No one's coming to save you. Money's not coming to fall at your feet. Opportunities aren't going to call. You know, no one's going to just come knock at your door. Hey, we've been waiting for you. We want to do X, Y, Z for you. You know, you got to go up and get what you want. The beauty of it is anything is possible in life. The world will give you what you put out there. And every reaction comes with an equal and opposite reaction. So Make sure you're just trying to do your best. I can tell you one thing personally, all the wild, crazy stuff I've done in my life in my younger years has came back to me one way or another. And sometimes it sucks and you got to eat it as humble pie. So make sure you're making the right moves. Make sure you live the life that you want. And anything is possible. You got to go out there and get it, though. No one's going to just throw $1 million at your feet. No one's going to, bring your idea to life. No one's going to push you to be better. Only you can do that. So get up, get to it, get it rocking. That's my message for the week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 4 of the Daily Dose podcast. We will have a different setup here soon. Just trying to get everything down, get a feel for it. Let's get the channel going. Again, thank you guys. Like, subscribe, share, get it out there. Daily Dose podcast.